let's give her a round of applause again. Right. So, everyone, for this morning, allow us to share with you a little bit about a little more context of what you're going to do, right? Perhaps the biggest thing that we hope you walk away with from this program is a change in mindset. So this is a picture of community. They are negotiating with a corporation on developing their land, right? And in the development, it's a dam, right? In the development, the elder of the tribal community says, "Sir, for us, developing land is important, but development means taking care of our water and land. Alagaan, to care for, right?" And perhaps this is the frame of mind that is not yet very common in companies today, right? And that's what we're here for, because we want to understand the connection between development, land, and water. You know? Just a little bit about our organization. We're a social enterprise. We're focused on circular economy and sustainability education. I also wear a sustainability educator hat at British School of Manila, where I focus on all the school's entire sustainability initiatives. Right? And what we're proposing as a framework is that when you look at the overall sustainabilities, you must look at community, you must look at nature, you must look at economy, but your personal well-being must also be intact. In other words, you won't be an environmentalist if you are uncomfortable, right? And so your personal well-being is very important, right? So we are one of the countries most vulnerable to climate change. It's happening in real time, right? And this is a picture of our bay, right? But actually, it's actually a building over there. No? So if it's not cleaned, or when the stormy season comes, this is what happens, right? And every day, the average Manila person produces, directly or indirectly, 700 grams of plastic waste per day, right? Yesterday, I had the chance to meet one of the officers of the waste management of the city of Manila, and he was saying that every person that comes in there, transient, will bring in about 0.9 kilos of waste. About half will be plastic, right? And so their city is generating about 1.8 180,000 kilos of plastic a day, of waste a day, which is overwhelming them already now. Might be even higher, right? And for me, perhaps just like you, the ocean's important. Who here likes to surf or swim in the beach? Raise your hand. Right? Swim, okay. This is my happy space in Siargao, right? Unfortunately, we have images like this, right? Where this guy is my surf instructor, Paulo, and he was surfing in a wave of trash, right? And he was so angry when someone caught this picture, right? So he was saying, your sachet, that bottle of water, you have to really think about it. Kailangan pag-isipan, right? Because he's a surf instructor. This means less people will surf because of him and because of the waste. And I just wanted to share. Oh, this thing is slow, huh? My mistake. All right. A quick video on what we're actually seeing today, right? So we have rivers leading into Manila Bay that are like this, right? Not nice. And then when the plastic gets into the river, this is what happens. This is a stomach of a yellowfin tuna. Who here likes sashimi or sushi? Or tuna steak. I see Hinako from Japan likes their sashimi. So the things that we might discard ends up in the stomach of the things we eat. The world is circular. The economy is circular. So is the food chain. Right? So these are some of the things that we need to kind of address, right? And even in a place like Siargao, like you see, What brands are these two? What's the other one? Coke and Nature Spring. So I asked you because we're all part of that. We're all part of the community that uses these products. Everyone here drank a Coke at some point, right? Coke today already has a recycling plant for bottles in Cavite, but it's only utilized, what, 20%? It needs behavioral change. It needs us to, let's say, use that bottle over there, and it must make its way into the system that's now being set up to protect this beautiful bay. I mean, I don't know if you'll agree with me, but I think it's beautiful. It's just dirty, but it's pretty, right? And it would be much better if it was cleaner, right? In that aspect now. So, one thing that's very important is how plastic affects our food security. So if there's plastic that falls off, let's say that trash bag over there, let's say it lands on a piece of coral. The coral is 89% more likely to get sick. 89% is pretty much 100%, right? It's so close to 1. When it's sick, the coral will not produce food for fish. When there's no food for fish, the fish will not grow, right? Now, corals produce 1,000 kilos of seafood per hectare per year. 1,000, right? And so, if you look underwater, this is what it's supposed to look like, right? But if we poison the water, this is what you can end up with, right? If there's too much bacteria, if there's too much sulfate, different kinds of poisons, right? At the end of the day, we're sharing this with you because we work on the insight that people do not take care of what they don't understand. And therefore, the process to getting to a cleaner country is us understanding what is the benefit of this bay to us. Ano ba yung pakinabang sa akin, right? And I think many of us grew up in a Manila or in a Philippines where Manila Bay, Pasig River are bodies of water that you just give up. No, it's dirty. That's status quo, right? But we need to change that, right? Additionally, climate change is fueled by carbon. And 1 kilo of plastic is 3 kilos of carbon because plastic is oil in the process. So who here has experienced flood before? In their homes or on the way to work, raise your hand. Experienced flood? Flood. All of us, no? If you don't like flood, then you don't like too much carbon. If you don't want too much carbon, then you must reduce your plastic. It's in your hands, right? Of course, it's in the government's hands too. But we're at the point where everyone has to pitch in. It's not about blaming. We just have to lead by example, right? So, in Florida, the water temperature reached 37 degrees Celsius. That's your body temperature. In Aurora province, Kasiguran, 60 degrees Celsius. Can you imagine 60? Today is about, what's that, 30, 28? Right? 60, you're cooking. And you might die with this kind of temperature. It's happening all around, right? And perhaps one thing to share that we did about 6 years ago, we launched a campaign to collect plastic waste and put it into bricks, right? We would get them, fill it up with plastic inside, and then we built walls with it because everyone needs a wall in their life at some point. This is still there today. This is 1.5 tons. We did this several times. We got to 10 tons, right? But we thought that's not enough, right? We need to get more people involved. No? And you notice we got some actors involved. We got Miss Earth involved because we need to deliver the message, and people like to listen to beautiful people, right? So that's the way forward. No? Built a bar with it as well, right? And there are even products today where, like Green Ants or Plaf, where you can recycle your waste now. It's real, right? You can recycle, and the nice thing is that these are 7% plastic. Nice. Better 7% than 0, right? Because if you put that all together, that's a lot of mountains you're not going to mine. And that's a lot of plastic trash that's in the structure rather than in the ocean. Right? So these are just some of the plastics that are used by one company. There are several, and we hope to, after this, we will email you the different options you have who you can send your plastics to, because that's really important, right? We need to support the circular economy, right? So here, and I'm sure if you've been to BGC or to Makati, there are products, it's already getting mainstream. Places like McDonald's, Shell are using these products as well. This one company took in about 500 tons of plastic in about, what was that? About a year, right? So that's great, but it's still very small, right? And perhaps one thing that keeps us hopeful is that in 2018, a poll was ran on voters in the Philippines. And 82% said, we will probably vote for someone who has strict implementation of laws on waste management. So why am I showing this to you? Because it's there, the mindset's already here, no? But we need to push it further, right? We have to go beyond cleaning up. This one, people probably vote for someone who's prohibiting plastic bags, no? Non-biodegradable plastic stuff. No? So it's happening there, right? And people think that the main reason why it's dirty, because reckless throwing and disposing of their garbage. If you throw it, you must be responsible for it. And we're at the point now where there's a new law called the EPR law, which was launched just a few months ago. And basically this year, if you sell 1 million kilos of plastic because of packaging, you're required to get 20% back. And then 40 next year, 50 until it gets to 80. So the government's doing its part to put in the law. It's our part to hold each other accountable as well, right? Because in the Philippines, especially for the foreigners, there's a saying that laws are optional in the Philippines, right? Even Filipinos know that, right? This law is not optional. You know why? Because Filipinos are demanding for it. That is the difference, right? And your knowledge of the issue really counts, right? So wherever we show this, we have people changing policy in their office. This school, they banned all their plastic spoons, forks, styrofoam. Everyone was made to bring their own baonan or picnic kit. Very easy, right? You don't even need bamboo spoons and forks because metal spoons and forks are reusable, right? And when we look at behaviors, I want to show you specific behaviors that each of us can contribute to. This is coffee bean. I sat here for 6 hours and took pictures of people eating. And look, wherever there's a circle, there's takeout cups. But all of them stayed there for at least 2 hours. Is that takeout? It's not, diba? So when you're dining in a place, please demand from the person at the counter, give us a refillable bottle. Because this is easily 15 grams of plastic. That's 0.15 of your 0.7 per day, right? So you can change that, right? Again, we don't take care of what we don't understand, right? So you can go from non-biodegradable to biodegradable to compostable to the best reducing. And that's why the snacks today, we've tried our best to make sure that we don't need plastic or disposable plates. It's banana, we've got refilling areas, right? We want to try to do our part in events. And we're sharing this because you can do it too. I'm sure your company does a lot of events, right? You can even change the way you brush your teeth. You can make your toothbrush disposable, right? So here we are in this area, and this blue line is Pasig River, which connects Manila Bay into Laguna de Bay, right? And what we did is we looked at Manila Bay in the past. It used to be very clean, right? This is Manila Hotel, right? It used to be waterfront, right? People used to swim. Maybe people still swim now, no? Who here swam in Manila Bay? Anyone? No? Okay. Maybe your grandparents? I met a gentleman who's 66 now. He used to swim in Manila Bay as a 6-year-old. And then he remembers when everything turned black. Right? Right? So, you know, we've got the cycle at the moment of it's clean, then it's not, it's clean, then it's not. Right? And so Manila Bay, this is the size, 199,000 hectares. Right? And we tried to look at how much money are we losing because of a dirty bay. And we just looked at food. So here's the equation. The size multiplied by, we got data from the Smithsonian Museum in the US, 2% of all reef, of all sea underwater is reef. We use 1.5% to make it safe. Times the size, times 1,000 kilos per hectare, equals 2.9 million kilos of seafood per year. 2.9 million. That feeds a lot of people. That's at least 9 million meals. At least, no? Probably 18. Right? And with fish, the price is skyrocketing, right? Our rice is skyrocketing, right? If we clean, we reclaim the bay, we have a swimming pool, we have a nice swimming area, and we have cheap food, right? Who wouldn't want that? And all it needs is for us to reduce and then to dispose properly, right? And so we took that same data and we applied it to Pasig River and we applied it to Laguna de Bay. And what do you have? 4 million kilos of seafood per year. This system, right? It's at our doorstep. Maybe some of us have eaten from here. I don't think it's the cleanest, right? I wouldn't want to. But this is what we're missing. And imagine the tourism we would get if the bay was clean, right? More people would be sleeping here, right? So we think it's 2.5 billion pesos a year at least in tourism, right? But this is still the reality we face, and that's why today we go out with gloves, we go out with trash bags to clean up, right? But also armed with the knowledge of how your actions today can actually help clean this up. And how I hope when you get back home, you post about it. Please post about it a lot. If anyone here is on TikTok, please TikTok as much as you can. Because we need people to understand, especially young people, right? We need people to understand that this must be ours again, right? Not property of trash, right? The good news is that there are different groups trying to push it, no? There was a wastewater treatment facility put up by Yacht Club. This is the result. It's a very quiet project, right? But it's 2.2 million parts per liter of bacteria down to 0.5 million. The swimmable level is 700, right? So we're still a long way to go. And that's just one facility, right? So we're showing you the slew of solutions that's happening in the bay because it is getting cleaner versus 30 years ago, versus 1990s. But it still needs our help because we're producing plastic and other kinds of waste at a record-breaking pace as a country, right? So yeah, when it's clean, you get animals, right? People can fish, especially during COVID when factories were shut, right? And one innovation that was put in here in Pasig River, no? They're putting in these trash barriers, right? Pasig River is collecting 330 tons of trash per month, right? And they're still underperforming because if they have more of this and more boats, they can double that number. And cleaning Pasig River, as I said, is critical to cleaning this bay, right? So if anyone is looking at the CSR or something, these things can help. This place needs support to make it better, right? And if we can corner the waste, we can measure it, we can track where it comes from. Now we can hold people accountable, right? There are 178 cities or municipalities connected to this area. So it's really difficult to manage, even by a national agency. It's difficult. And that's why we need all the help we can get in terms of education, right? So yeah. Perhaps before we go, just to share, we are looking for public schools and schools where we can connect to so that we can share this information with them, right? So that we can talk, because what I showed you earlier is a sample of climate mathematics, right? I showed you the instructions. We hope that rather than students studying math through apples and oranges, they study it through fish and corals and mangroves, because these are the bodies of the environment that take care of them, right? In that way. So if you know anyone, we'd love to connect with them, right? And if not, you know the information now, we will send you these slides so you can use it as well. You can post it as well, right? Yeah. So anyway, I'd like to end our short briefing with that in mind. No? So again, we're going to clean up for about an hour and a half. There will be bags and sacks. Ruth will be leading it, right? So what we're going to do now is we'll move to, I'll turn this over to Ruth so that she can just explain the schema, how we're going to do the cleanup. And then after that, A large chunk of you do the cleanup, and then a small chunk of you come with me to do the mangrove tour. Right? And then we go in cycles. Okay? Thank you.
Hi, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. So we'll be doing the beach cleanup for this session. So instructions or general instructions. So we will. You need to group yourselves into like
They have groups of 10.
You have groups of 10. Okay, so within your group of 10, kindly group yourselves to 3 or